Hello patrons, and welcome to this short video which is the post-game for Game 2 of the Campaign of Doom. So what we're going to do is, it's only going to be a short video this time. We're just going to go through the 6 sections in order and we're just going to show you the highlights of each one. First things first, I am the only one who actually has any injured fighters to roll for because my opponent didn't have any taken out of the game, so let's roll for them. For my Apprentice on the left there, we're going to roll. And they get a 3, that's good. For my Thief with a Sword, I'm going to roll. And get a 10, that's not so good. And then for my Assassin, an 8, okay. So for my Apprentice, they have received the number 3, which is the lucky one, which means that they get to participate in the next game as normal and get a d6 worth of coins for the group. So I rolled a 2, so I've got 2 extra coins, that's not too bad. For the Thief with a Sword, he has rolled dead, but that means he is removed from play, but I get to add his basic weapon to the armory, so that's fine. And then finally we have the Assassin, who has rolled an 8, which is battered armor, broken leg, so I'll roll again. Get a 4, which means he has the battered arm, so he's -1 to his combat and shoot skill, which, given how his performance went in the game, I don't think is going to make much of a difference to him, to be perfectly honest. Next we come to the income gathering. Unfortunately in my case, I'm only going to be rolling a grand total of 1 dice because my Alchemist did survive the previous game, but I roll nothing for any of the others. I rolled a 1, so that's puts me at a total of, I think, 3 coins. Now, in my opponent's case, they are going to roll 3 dice for the number of models they took out of action, 1 for winning, and 1 because their Alchemist survived. Okay, and all of that combined together gets us 5, 10, 15, 21 in total. So my opponent gets 21 coins. Next we're on to the recuperation part, so I'm going to use my ability. Let's see what I roll for it. A 2, that's good. So if I rolled a 1, I would lose 5 coins, but if I roll a 2 or more, I get 5 coins added to my total, so at least that's something. As for my opponent's recuperation, they get the option to create 2 concoctions where they only have to spend 3 coins, as opposed to spending 5 coins to get ones of their choice. However, they now roll a d6, and on a roll of a 1, they will lose one of those concoctions. Okay, so they haven't rolled a 1, so I'm going to let my opponent pick the 2 concoctions they would like, and we will come back to you. And as we can see, my opponent has chosen 2 of the steel bullet for their choices, but they will spend 6 coins in doing this, so they'll deduct those from their total. So for the purchasing and hiring section, I, with my 8 coins, am going to save them for next time. So I'm just going to not buy anything at the end of this game. My opponent, however, has bought a Marksperson with a crossbow and dagger, and has also decided to spend 2 sets of 3 coins on making 2 concoction rolls. So just going to do those now. Okay, so they've got a 5 and a 1, which from memory should be... the 5 is the buckshot bullet, and the 1 is the high explosive shell. And finally we come to the exploration. So I'm going to roll mine first. Let's get something that isn't a 7, a 4. Okay, so I have Shadow Strike, which means after players have both finished their deployment in the next game, I can nominate one of my opponent's fighters, and they will take a single wound before the game begins. Now my opponent's going to roll for theirs, see what they get. A 3, so they'll get Civilian Misdirection. This means that after both players have finished deploying in their next game, pick one of their opponent's fighters, and they get to move them a normal 6-inch move before the game begins, so can potentially move them away from their lines or into some rough ground or something like that, or even closer to one of their own models. And with that we come to the end of the post-game for game number 2 of the Campaign of Doom. Join us at the weekend, usually, like I say, by Sunday, when we will have the third game up, which will be between the Spark of the Free People and the Cleansers of the World. On top of that, by Saturday, on the 15th, the campaign rules themselves will be up for all people in the Novice and Local Hero tiers, so keep an eye out for those.